guys, a little bit of context to today's session. We're seeing a little bit of reversal in sentiment. We didn't have the escalation of military action. Biden responded with sanctions, so that's actually quite positive because we didn't want Biden to react and escalate and increase the tensions. So it's positive, and that's obviously a positive. That's quite a risk on narrative there, and also the Bank of China injected some liquidity, so that's going to help as well. And so we're quite green at the moment anyway. It could flip at 8 o'clock London Open, so just bear that in mind. We had quite a lot of roller coaster this week so far. It might continue, and it might even continue to next week, so do need to be careful. One thing that we need to be aware of is that the retail guys are long on the S&P. See, here would have been a sell signal here. See how they went long and they crossed the 21 moving average, and they've held long, and then they keep buying. Okay, admittedly they sold, but then they bought again, and then they're buying again. So the trouble is here is if they do continue to buy, we'll have to come down to flush them out, because they have to be encouraged not to go long. They need to be kept in like a state of fear. They can't be optimistic about the future of the indices. They need to be negative, and then that way the price will go against them and we can rally. So they're 62% long, nearly 63% long, so that's a little bit too scary, so they need to be flushed out. So I think maybe a little bit of downside, and then hopefully they get out, and then we can rally. But the trouble is this hodl mentality where tens of millions of retail investors have come in using that mentality where they don't actually exit, they just keep adding like they do on crypto. And as you saw in Bitcoin, it fell really heavily and it flushed them out. So whether or not you could argue this has already flushed them out, it looks like they haven't. It hasn't flushed them out yet. And so we might have to anticipate a little bit more downside until these guys get eradicated, because really they shouldn't be buying, they should be selling, because that's normal behaviour. This is quite irregular behaviour, and they need to be flushed out, so bear that in mind. Dixie, we'll start with the Dixie actually. Right, so we've got a bullish ABCD, and so that's your D support here, but we're having quite a heavy sell-off. So this fallen would agree with the risk on theme. Okay, so if you're trading Dixie or Euro USD or Pound USD, you want to keep at 95.64, 95.83. Now that should probably hold. If we zoom out, so we've got a fairly decent diagonal here as well. So we've got the horizontal support and diagonal support, the ascending pitchfork, and there's your monthly pivot resistance and that swing high. So we might struggle here at 96.40 area. See here? So yeah, it's very, very tricky. We should probably bounce. Look at the bubbles actually. See, the dollar is strong sell, but we're close to the 50. See that cross section here? See, all it needs is a little budge and we're into the strong buy. This is the strong sell section, this is the strong buy, so all it needs is a little budge and it'll be a strong buy. So it's kind of teetering between the two axes, right? Aussie is strong buy, Kiwi strong buy, Yen is strong sell, CAD strong sell. Swiss is mixed, Pound's mixed, Euro's mixed, Gold's mixed. So maybe we'll fall on the Dixie, and then maybe it'll encourage them to sell. If they do, then that bubble's going to come over here, then it will be a buy, right? So maybe if you want to buy dollars, you might want this to fall a little bit in order to buy, maybe. Let's have a look at the yeah, we can use this template, that's fine. So the dollar Swiss, this was a big mover on the sentiment. This was the largest move, in fact. Got an ascending channel on the is it the H4? Yes, it's H4. Oh, the red is H4. This is M15. So the ascending M15 channel. Weekly open is here. So above where we, where we opened Monday, monthly open there, quarterly yearly open here. So because we're above the quarterly yearly open, we're actually technically quite bullish. Here's that move on the sentiment that I recorded on the dashboard in the bulletin. So there's that move. It's quite a big move actually. So at the high level it's a sell, but dynamically it's a buy. So it's a mismatch. If they continue, we'll come up. And we've got the quarterly yearly open as well. Do euro, because I didn't do euro yesterday. We'll do this template because it's quite nice. It's quite straightforward. Just got channels and your monthly and quarterly opens. So hourly, so this is obviously going in conjunction with Dixie. If Dixie falls, this is going to go up. We're 50-50 pretty much, and we're quite sideways. You could argue they're going long ever so slightly. There's your weekly open, there's your quarterly yearly open. SLC 113.89, 112.75. I'll show you NU because we had the interest rate hike. And I was saying in yesterday's video we were going to come up and take the stops, and we certainly did. See these blue, they're old stop loss clusters, so they got robbed. And the time I made the video I was saying we would probably come up and get the liquidity, and we did. Quite dramatically. We are a buy and they sold it, so that agrees with the static. Where's the quarterly yearly? There. Right, we've still got that to overcome, so if we go above, that's going to be quite bullish on this pair, but currently we're below. Weekly range high should hold, and the daily range high should hold as well. We can exceed the ADR, the average weekly range is a little bit overdone, so maybe we might hit a bit of a challenge there. 45 points away. Do pound, and I do dollar CAD because I know someone is trading it, Paul's trading it in the US GDP group, so I'll show you dollar CAD after pound. Pound USD is a weekly open, so that's where we open on the week, just above. You can see how we've flip-flopped and we're basically back where we were Monday, so we have to be really careful. I think the key is just to take your profits where you can, because obviously we're not seeing much moves, and things are caught in the range. You know, it's not really moving, is it really? And it looks like we might be going up, but we could be having some resistance. One above is 136.20, one below is 135.70. We are a buy, but it's sideways. And maybe do dollar yen. And yeah, this is kind of annoying actually, this alert, so I need to remove that. Just telling us if it's over, if we've exceeded the weekly open. So this is a key level for the UJ, quarterly yearly open, weekly open, and that level is 115.04, and we're basically sitting on it now. Below we could be quite bearish technically, and we are a buy here. They sold it, so that would agree with that. So we could come up and get the SLC 115.24, and the one below 114.79. We might just teeter on that quarterly yearly open, which would be horrible. Yeah, a big descending channel, but an ascending M15. Do EJ and where are we? EJ. There we go. Might come up with another alert, which would be annoying. Okay, so one above. Oh wow. 130.81, and one below. Oh wow, God, come on. 129.80. We are a buy. They sold it, so there's that move, and it's a bit sideways. The last 8 hours, it's very sideways. So it's pretty horrendous. Quarterly yearly open there, so maybe it could be a buy at 130.98, but we've got ADR and AWR resistance, so we could probably get that stop loss cluster because we know we're a buy here, but we're going to have resistance overhead, so very tricky. I'll do AJ now and then I'll wrap up the video. And the symbol change is a bit better now, because before you'd click the symbols down there, but now we've got a little button up there which is a bit tidier. AJ one above 83.40, one below is 82.75. They sold it here area, and so we came up. So I think because they sold it and it agrees to the static, we can probably come up and get that. And remember that the the risk on flows, we can probably be risk on because we didn't get an escalation of those tensions, and we can probably come up on risk, but we do need to be aware of this. So whether or not the retail guys are going to get paid is quite possible. They might get paid, so they're long, so if price comes up they'll get paid. It's one of those things. It would be unusual, but it can happen. And if they're long already, what might happen is it might come to their break even, and then they'll exit with like a tiny profit. And when they do, it will get out. It will cause like the sentiment to come down, and then it will be a buy. So it might be a case of this coming up to their break even potentially, and then they'll get out because they've been in some horrible drawdown, so they want to get out, won't they? So that could be a scenario. An alternative scenario where if price comes up, that will just come to they'll probably get like £100 profit, and then they'll just get out. So that's possible. So we'll have to wait and see. Remember to trade carefully. You don't have to trade today. And we've got the FX math software I'm going to be testing next week, because this week isn't really a fair test because we've got the geopolitical nonsense on the wires as well. So have a good day, you guys, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.